How we connect in relationships often comes down to one key concept: attachment. Well, attachment styles are rooted in childhood and carried into adulthood, and they shape how we love, communicate, and handle conflict. Well, here to help break it all down, let's welcome back Ashley Martin, licensed professional counselor at Thriveworks Counseling. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
This is a really fascinating topic to me. I love anything that is psychology related.
Yeah.
But this in particular, I've noticed a lot kind of popping up on social media, people more openly discussing attachment types. And maybe to set the stage, you can identify and define what is an attachment type when we're talking about people.
So basically it is talking about how our early relationships to, caregivers or parents, how that shapes our emotions, our expectations, our behaviors for, any relationship in the future. So, as you grow into adulthood and you have, it can take place in friendships as well, but especially romantic relationships,
Right.
and that is where you will see the effects. So, of course, that covers communication, conflict resolution, intimacy, all of the key components
Vulnerability,
of
intellectual.
Right.
Relations. Why is it that childhood shapes this? Is it possible for someone to develop these type of attachment styles later on as adults without having any significant childhood either traumas or experiences?
The reason that they are most of the time formed in childhood is because that is when we're learning the world, and our parents are the one that either model it or teach it to us or don't teach it to us.
Yeah, right.
So, there are instances where if, an older child maybe or teen has some sort of trauma with caregivers, maybe a death, of a family member, that it can change a little bit, but it's rooted very much in the closeness of those first attachment figures in your life.
Up until about what age? You mentioned teenagers, but is there a time where it's particularly impactful?
Well, I believe it starts, from infancy. I mean, if you think about the push now for when you even have a baby, it's skin-to-skin contact, right? And that is literally the very beginning of attachment.
Yeah. And then up until about what age do you think? Is it before you do hit, say, preteen age, or if you don't have a significant death in the family or something like that, which is hugely profound?
I would say that it's, by your teen years, that it's pretty well developed and stuck.
Okay, so there are 4 types. Can you name the 4 for us?
Well, the first one is secure, which is what we strive to be.
Yes.
There's anxious, avoidant, and then disorganized.
Okay, and avoidant, and is it disorganized avoidant? Are those kind of, are they different?
No, so anxious and avoidant are separate, and disorganized is the 4th. But of course, there is some anxiety within, avoidant and the disorganized. So,
Okay.
But they're 4 separate.
Like you say, we all strive to have the secure attachment. We won't spend too much time on that one. I think what we want to discuss now, let's dive into anxious attachment. What is anxious attachment?
Well, they look at these different styles from the point of view of how someone may view themselves, how they view others, and how that might show up in a relationship. So in anxious attachment, you may feel unworthy of love, low confidence, low self-esteem, and as far as others, you may not be trusting of a lot of people. And it's just that anxious part of from the caregiver that maybe gave inconsistent attention or feedback. There's fear of rejection, abandonment, that all comes with the anxious style.
Right, and also just a constant need of reassurance
Yes.
within a relationship.
Yes.
So it doesn't even matter how long established the relationship is, they will always feel anxious and think at some point the other shoe's going to drop.
Right, yes, exactly. And this may be what some people call clingy.
Right. I mean, a lot of people, though, it's not wrong to want a little reassurance and
Yes, for
affirmation every
sure.
now and again.
For sure.
You know, a little bit can go a long way.
Yes.
But anxious takes it almost to the extreme.
It does. It's no matter what reassurance your partner gives you, it still does not fill that fear or void.
Gosh, that must be very exhausting for the other partner.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, this is a good place to take a break. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about the other two attachment styles. I can't wait to get into those. This is going to be interesting. All right, we'll do that in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We're here with Ashley Martin. She's a licensed therapist with Thriveworks Counseling. We'll be talking about attachment styles, something that is within all of us. We identify with one of the 4 attachment styles. So there's secure, there's anxious, there's avoidant, and there's disorganized. We touched on the secure and the anxious in our first segment. So let's get into the avoidant and the disorganized. How do you define avoidant?
Avoidant would be someone feeling very self-sufficient, independent, and not looking at others or a relationship as something that they necessarily need. But they tend to, either not trust someone or it's just too much for them.
I was going to say, with the avoidant style, there's a lot of trepidation, maybe, a lack of willing to become vulnerable.
Yes, for sure.
Because that's seen as a threat. And there's fear attached to that. So how does someone get over it is a bit of a callous term, but how do you work through being in an avoidant position all the time? Because I would think that would break down just about every relationship that you start, and it's just sort of rinse, cycle, and repeat over and over again.
Yes, and it may work at the beginning of a relationship or a marriage, but
because it pushes people away.
Well, it's emotionally unavailable person, possibly, and most people want to feel needed in their relationship, and a person with this style may not be able to understand that. So at some point, though, with counseling, and often it comes down to when they are about to lose something that they really don't want to lose. So it's really the loss outweighs the fear that they have, because you're right, it is when you depend on someone, when you trust someone, you are making yourself vulnerable to them because they can hurt you.
There's also that push and pull. So there's a desire to connect, but then when things start becoming too real, and even if they've built up this fantasy and it's sitting right in front of them, then it's like, uh-oh,
yes,
I gotta go.
Because that's when their partner may have expectations of them. They may need them to express their feelings, and and that is when sometimes they will even self-sabotage their own relationships.
Does that come from a low self-esteem at all? Does it come from a lack of confidence in that they perceive that what they are, who they are, is so easily lost if someone rejects them, if they don't live up to whatever expectation that may be?
It's
big or small?
Usually not, a thought that they are understanding about themselves.
Right, sure. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
But it definitely comes from, maybe a caregiver that didn't encourage expressing emotion, that was maybe rejecting or dismissive. So if you think about it as a child, if you are expected to be self-sufficient, then that's how you grow up. But that doesn't make a bond or a closeness.
I see. Interesting. All right. So we have about a minute, 2 minutes left here. I want to talk about the disorganized. This is an interesting one. Mm-hmm. It sounds very complicated. Would you say it's one of the more complex of the four?
Yes, because it can cover a lot of different types and symptoms. It's a little bit of avoidant and anxious together. So the disorganized, you may yourself not feel worthy of love, but then sometimes you just may be unsure. Mm-hmm. And of others, you typically may not be totally trustworthy, but you want the closeness, but you can't trust it.
Yeah.
And then, in a relationship, there's very much the push-pull dynamic, which, yes, probably can be the roughest on the other partner, mm-hmm. because sometimes they want to be close and other times they don't.
It's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of a situation.
It's
like,
is.
Who am I going to get the next day?
Right, it is. And this type is formed by caregivers who are abusive, neglectful.
And to close us out, because I'm sure we've all met people who fall into one of those three categories. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot, just have patience, be patient, but set boundaries. Don't lose yourself.
Yes, for sure. Right. And, it's important in relationships, but also it's important to remember that these styles, they're not permanent.
And it's not overnight either. It doesn't take just one session.
No,
it takes constant work.
Mm-hmm. And it depends on your partner's attachment style too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
If some of them can clash.
It's a lot of stuff. Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much for helping to, I think we scratched the surface here.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot.
You did a great job. And for people who would like more information on how to contact you, mm-hmm. how do they find you?
They can go to thriveworks.com, and I'm in the Mount Pleasant office, so you can search by location.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Ashley. Mm-hmm. Good to have you back.
Thanks.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.